Hello, good morning. I hope that you're all well and that you've had a good week. I've been a busy bee this week. I've got lots done. I've been playing catch up now for a few weeks since COVID, and I feel now that I've caught up and I can just just sort of relax a little bit more. I'm somebody that I can't leave things to the last minute. If something needs to be done, it's got to be done. And I didn't like having things outstanding. This week I had a finish. I finished Clara, and I will show her again when I release her, which I hope will be maybe sort of October time, possibly November. And you know what that means. If you have a finish, you have a new start. And this is my new start. And I will actually finish my new start tonight. This is such a pretty little sampler. All I have left to do is to stitch this basket here and a little dog there, and she is finished. The funny thing about this sampler, this little girl, when she put this basket here, she couldn't quite fit it in. So what did she do? She slid the top of the leaves and the fruit across. It's very quirky, and it was one of the things that endeared me to this sampler. Now this girl, her name is Dorche Sampson. And the reason I know her first name is Dorche, even though she only put D on this sampler, was that she stitched 3 samplers, and on one of the samplers her name Dorche appears, and I found the girl in family history records, which I think is just always is the icing on the cake for me. In stitching Dorche, I wanted her to look as close to the original as possible in appearance, but not in size. The original is bigger than this. So I chose this wonderful linen from Tabby Cat Linen, and I positioned the sampler on a really lovely grungy bit, and that is so effective. Thrilled to bits with how this is looking. So anyway, I'm going to finish that sampler tonight, and then I shall start her second sampler. I've been stitching that listening to Game of Thrones. I am now on season 7. I've binge watched it. I've watched nothing else other than Game of Thrones. And gosh, I am so addicted to it. I don't know what I'm going to do when I come to the end of season 8. This week we had a new release, Fanny Bramley. And here are both Fannies. We have the original and we have the model. Now, I've stitched my model on 56 count. It's the count that I enjoy working on. And at the end of the day, needlework for me is my hobby, it's my passion in life, and it's very important that I enjoy my stitching. So whilst I've stitched this on 56 count, you might want to stitch yours on 28 count. The choice is yours. Here's my model, and this was stitched on creme brulee, and it is such a good match to the original sampler. It really is. I used Soie 103 from Overa Soie, and it just sits so beautifully on this linen. Fanny is a really, really pretty sampler. Now, a lot of you followed me whilst I was stitching Fanny, and you know the dilemma I had about the borders, because she only had one correct border. The other 3 borders were wrong. She fudged them and squidged them in. So when you come to stitch Fanny, I have given you the choice in the booklet of stitching as she did, so that it's a true reproduction, or there is a condensed graph version of a corrected border so that you can stitch the border perfectly so all the corners are correct. Poor Fanny, she got her maths wrong. Now this sampler is stitched entirely in cross stitch over 2, so it's suitable for working on Aida or linen. If you stitched the sampler on 14 count Aida, which is 28 count linen, it would be 13.71 by 17.86. If you stitched her on 18 count Aida, 36 count linen, she would be 10.67 by 13.89. If you stitched her on 46 count linen, she would be 8.35 by 10.87. She uses 9 colours and they are very pretty colours. They're very calm colours. Let's have a look at both the samplers together. Now, I have got terrible problems with my elbow, my tennis elbow, so we'll have to just see how I get on holding these up. Funny enough, the model is the heavier one, so I shall put that in my left hand. You wouldn't expect that, you'd think the larger one is, but these frames are very heavy. So, there are the 2 samplers. Really pleased with how the linen and the colours of the silks are sitting on this sampler. You can see the difference between the reflective glass and the non-reflective glass. Oh, there isn't a very good way of doing this. There we are. Let's hold it just like that so you can compare them. Very, very pleased with how these worked out. I am so fed up with this issue I've got with my elbow. It's really impacting on my daily activities. I'm just so grateful though that I can still stitch. I've been having to put a cushion under my elbow now to support my arm whilst I'm stitching, but you know, I can still stitch. I could not imagine life without being able to. Okay, let's get back to Fanny. Got sidetracked then. This sampler has brought me so much pleasure. I enjoyed charting her, stitching her and researching her, and I really love seeing her hang on one of my sampler walls. I so wish that Fanny had included a date on her sampler. Without a date, it's quite difficult to sort of put your hand on your heart and say, we have found Fanny. We have found a possible Fanny. We think this sampler was stitched in the very late 1800s. There is a Fanny that fits into this time scale, and she was born in Sheffield on February the 19th, 1880, and she was one of 7 children. We write about Fanny's background and about her life in her booklet if you would like to read it. But what we really loved was that we found a photograph of Fanny Bramley. Here she is with her husband, who was a photographer, and her 4 children. Those little girls, they really are adorable. And Fanny has such a lovely, sweet face and that smile. It's very much a Mona Lisa smile. It's very, it's just, I don't know, there's something about her face that she really sort of draws me in. Anyway, this Fanny, she died at 54. It's such a young age today. You know, I'm way past 54 now. Fanny stitched on her sampler, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth." And of course, that does refer to God. But I think remember now thy Creator is we're remembering the creators of these samplers. And that's one of the little verses that are my favourite. Jesus, permit thy gracious name to stand, and remember now thy Creator. Those are my favourite verses to find on samplers. And you know what? Today we remember Fanny. She's been very, very popular. there's been a lot of charts flying out to needleworkers around the world, and I hope that you really enjoy stitching her as well. Now, with Fanny, in her booklet, you have got the adaptation of the border to correct it, and that is, you've got your normal pages of the sampler, and then you have a condensed version to show the correction to the border. But with the PDF download, normally you have 4 versions of the chart. With Fanny, there are 8 versions. You have a multi-page colour graph, the true reproduction and the adaptation. You've got a multi-page black and white reproduction adaptation. You've got a single page black and white reproduction adaptation, and you have a single page colour adaptation and reproduction. When you purchase the PDF download, you automatically get all 8 versions, and you can just click on which one that you download. Enjoy her. I most certainly did. Now, have you noticed my new brooch? I got this brooch yesterday. I went round to see my friend Sue, and she was busy making more products for her website, and there was 2 things I could not leave without getting. Now, this is not available at the moment, but this is something that's coming. This is the basket taken from Elizabeth Bevan, and this is the beautiful charm dangles. Sorry, you just turn that round. The charm dangles attached to it, and Sue did this sort of like multitude of flower heads to match the flowers in the cabochon. I just adore this. So these aren't available at the moment, but they are coming. But Sue's store is open today. Minnie McBean's Needlework Fripperies is open today on Etsy while stocks last, of this beautiful brooch. Isn't that gorgeous? That is just so lovely. My favourite fashion house, if you go to their studios in Paris, all the seamstresses have special scissor brooches to indicate that they work with needle and thread. So I think a scissor brooch is absolutely perfect for anybody who does needlework. So I have this beautiful scissor brooch from Minnie McBean's Needlework Fripperies. These are available today on Etsy whilst stocks last. These are also available from the Attic Needleworks and Hobby House Needleworks. I'm not sure if they're on the website yet at Hobby House Needleworks, but ring Kathy and David because they have got them, and Jean has a very good supply of these. They're beautiful, absolutely gorgeous. Now, I bought 3. I could not resist. They are little pin brooches, and what I love, they have these little rubber backs which are really strong, and you can pin those anywhere. Now, the reason I bought 3 for myself, I've been very greedy, was one to wear, and I want to pin them on my project bags and in my needle pouches. I just think that that is a lovely little touch. I love dressing things up, and it's all these little pretties, I think, enhance my enjoyment of my hobby. They're not very expensive, but they are just fabulous, really, really pretty. You could even wear 2. I've often got 2 pairs of scissors on the go. No, I like this as a single brooch, but I do like being able to put these on project bags and pouches. I'm going to be putting one of these in my little red case and putting that on the inside lid. Just think that's a really, really lovely touch. Sue is so creative with her products. So she's not got any fobs available this weekend, but she has got these beautiful scissor brooches on Minnie McBean's Needlework Fripperies. Go along and grab one. In the week, I had a delivery. I mentioned last week that I'd been doing so much stitching that I'd actually made my finger bleed. And this is a problem that I've had for years and years. I seem to catch this part of my finger with my needle, and when I have an intensive stitching session, you know, it does cause a problem. And I often use like it's a tape. I can't think what it's called now. Funny, that's just gone out of my mind. But the tape is a nuisance because it affects how I bend my finger. And when I mentioned the problem I had last week, one of the persons who watched the video left a comment, and I am so grateful that you did. And she suggested having a thimble pad. So I went onto Amazon, I found these thimble pads, and they are brilliant. They are, there's 12 in the pack, and they are leather, and they are reusable. And basically, they are a little sticky pad, and I can put that just there, which is the point I catch my needle on my finger, and it doesn't affect me using my finger. It's not something tight around it like the tape or a plaster, and it just works really, really great. And then I thought, oh gosh, I wash my hands a lot when I stitch, and especially in this hot weather. I thought, oh, you know, taking this on and off, it's going to lose its stickiness. Well, I have used this now for 4 nights, and I've taken it on and off probably, I don't know, about 5 times each night. I tend to stitch from about 5 o'clock up until midnight, and you know, smooth the dogs, got to go and wash your hands because you don't want to get anything on your stitching. You go to the loo, you make a cup of coffee, you know, so my hands get washed umpteen times, and it just has not lost its stickiness at all. So that was really, really good. There were various different versions of these, and this was the one that I went for. It's Thimble pad, and it's made by Colonial. I'm sure in our different countries there will be different ones, but I just thought that was a really great idea. At night, I actually popped this. I didn't put it back in here. I actually used one of my scissor fobs, and I just stuck it on the cabochon, and then the next day I just put it back on my finger. Easy. What was I going to say? What else have I got to talk about? Oh, I know what else I've got to talk about. I had a new piece of linen come this week. Look at this section. I have got to stitch a sampler on that. That is just gorgeous. The whole piece of linen is really beautiful. Look at that. Really beautiful. It's sort of like a brooding sky. Really, really lovely. This is from Tabby Cat Linen, and it is Ragamuffin. Absolutely gorgeous. I love stitching with the grungy linen. It is so effective. This is really pretty. I love this. Okay, so is there anything else to talk about? Oh, almost forgot. I said I would share my project that I was going to use as a travel project, and this is the little sampler. It's all charted, fabric and silk already chosen, and it's ready for me to take to the attic with me when I go to summer school. I'm going to be very good. I'm not going to put a single stitch in until I am at the airport hotel the night before I fly. This little sampler, it's a beautiful green. It's been stitched in. It's got some thread, some loss of linen, but that doesn't matter. It's still very, very beautiful. It was stitched in 1799. That is such a long time ago. Now, when I first saw this sampler, Elizabeth Garrard Wells, two thoughts: Garrard Wells, double barrel name, or Elizabeth Garrard was from Wells, and to me Wells meant Wells in Somerset. But when I actually researched this sampler, this is from Wells in Norfolk, and I found Elizabeth Garrard. And that just again enhances this sampler. It's lovely to know where these samplers come from and the lives of their young makers. So you'll be seeing some updates as I stitch this whilst I'm at summer school. Hello, Bertie. Are you waiting to go out for your walk? It's so hot for the boys to walk at the moment. We have to choose some really nice sort of shaded walks, some woodland walks, or we go out in the evening. But it's still warm in the evening, isn't it, Bertie? They're such good boys. Anyway, I really do think that's about it. Are you waiting for me? Enjoy, Fanny, and until next week, stay safe, stay well. Bye-bye.